Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you for joining me. Hope you all are having a wonderful, wonderful day and have a wonderful, blessed, safe weekend. This commentary is pertaining to the disappearance of Summer Wells. Tomorrow, on the 15th of June, will mark 3 years that she went missing out of Rogersville, Tennessee. TBI has released a statement rather, that they don't have any answers as of yet, and they cannot say if she was abducted or not. And also, you will hear in this commentary that there was a fire early this morning before 5:30 a.m. at Warrior Path Horse Stables. Thank you for your time. TBI Media is the source.
When I see the picture of Summer Wells, I see my daughter. And I can tell you that if my daughter was missing, I would sure hope that somebody was looking for her every day. My name is Josh Melton. I'm the Assistant Director of the Criminal Investigation Division for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. We don't have the evidence in this case to know for sure whether or not Summer was abducted or whether or not she walked away from her home and became lost. It's really important to us to not focus all of our efforts on just one of those two. Many people have speculated what they think has happened in this case. The difficult part of the speculation is that if we as investigators speculate and focus our efforts in one direction, we're making a huge mistake. We have to make sure that we're being completely comprehensive as we investigate. We continue to focus on ground search efforts. We continue to focus on interviews of those who may have information about vehicles that have traveled through the area or technology that could have been used that may give us an investigative lead. All stones are being turned over. We have some of our most talented agents assigned to this case. We have brought in subject matter experts within TBI from across the state to assist in this investigation. We have thrown everything that we know to throw at this case, and we haven't had the answers that we need yet. No, we'll get them, but we don't have them today. Children are our top priority at TBI. They are the most vulnerable population that we have. They're our most precious things in our world. Our commitment to the public is that we're not going to allow this case to sit on a shelf. We are committed to bringing Summer home, and we will keep working on this case until she is home.
1-800-TBI-FINE. If you have information to the disappearance of this said child, TBI Media is the source. Thank you for joining me. Now I'll bring you more commentary pertaining to this case. An Amber Alert remains active for Summer, who was 5 years old at the time of her disappearance. Immediately following the issuance of her Amber Alert, hundreds of personnel from dozens of agencies combed through Hawkins County searching for Summer. Despite repeated searches using canines, drones, all manner of efforts, when the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation released an age progress photo of Summer Wells. Friday, Josh Melton, TBI's Assistant Director of the Criminal Investigation Division, as you heard him speaking here, spoke pertaining to this case. Video posted to social media. TBI has utilized ground search efforts, interviews, technology in their investigation, Melton said. The video posted by the TBI includes photos of the search through Hawkins County and aerial images of the Wells home. According to Melton, some of TBI's top agents are assigned to Summer's case, and the Bureau has brought in multiple experts to assist in the investigation. We have thrown everything that we know to throw at this case, and we haven't had the answers that we need yet, he said. We know we'll get them, but we don't have them today. Once again, as he said, children are the TBI's top priority. He began the video by stating that when he looks at photos of Summer, he thinks of his own daughter. The TBI investigators worked 6,500 tips and leads and interviewed anyone with potential information, some of whom were interviewed multiple times. Once again, as he said in this commentary, we're not going to allow this case to sit on a shelf. We are committed to bringing Summer home, and we're going to keep working on this case until she's home. WATE.com is the source. So what I have to ask myself, the people who they've talked to more than once, who are those people that they spoke to more than once? Who are those people? The parents, neighbors, children, people that work with them, Mr. Don, people that know Candace. Who are those people? Interviewed multiple times. Who are those said people? Let's hear from neighbors in the community.
Last year, when they released this wearing gray pants and pink shirts and was possibly barefoot. An active Amber Alert continues out of Hawkins County. It's been really ongoing for about almost 3 years now.
Sorry about that.
Summer Wells, June 15th to be exact, 2021. The then 5-year-old Wells was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community. The area was filled with law enforcement and search crews.
It's buffering.
And today, all the stations under our parent company, Nexstar Media Group, are participating in the Nexstar Founders Day of Caring. It is a day to
Sorry about that. So I'm having problems with this audio. Hold on one second, everybody. Let me try to find this content. It's not loading. Okay. One second. That was a statement from the TBI. Once again, I'm just reading extra commentary besides the media released to the TBI website. Oh, I don't know. Data issues today. Nothing is wanting to load for some reason. Thank you all so much for joining me. WJHL is the source of this information pertaining to a neighbor speaking out, lives nearby. Well, it's a slow rolling day. One thing I think is interesting is that he said they're not focusing on one thing, one particular theory pertaining to the disappearance of the child. As many people have their own ideologies of what happened to the child. Just a second, everybody. 3 years has come and gone that fast. It's amazing how time flies. Even more sad pertaining to a child. For some reason, I cannot get this content to load. I don't know what's going on.
for almost 3 years. On June the 15th of 2021, then 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road in the Beech Creek community. The area was filled with law enforcement and search crews for weeks, but there was no sign of the missing girl. Now, Beech Creek is much quieter, almost like it was before that alert went out. There are faded posters with Summer's face and information, with the hopes that someone who might know something will come forward. Shannon Phillips is one neighbor who wants to know where Summer is. He lives a few miles from the Wells family and went out to help search for her when she was first reported missing. He says he doesn't understand how law enforcement isn't any closer to finding her.
They should do more to try to find this little girl, because ever since then I've been really, really cautious with my grandkids.
Again, there was still an active Amber Alert for Summer tonight. The last update we received from law enforcement was about this time last year. That's when they released this age-progressed photo of Summer. That's what she could look like. Summer has blonde hair and blue eyes. She was reportedly last seen wearing gray pants, a pink shirt, and was possibly barefoot.
All right. WJGL is the source of that information. Possible barefoot. Once again, a different version of what was told to us by the mother in the first interview, Candace Bly. Different commentary about bears and coyotes, which had nothing to do with the child. Deflection, in my opinion, to keep people not in the know, the truth. This man speaks of his grandchildren, worried about his grandchildren. Feels like what? Law officials aren't doing their job? Well, they just gave a statement telling you what they've done with data, searching, drones, technology, but they don't have the answers as of yet. They don't know if she was abducted or not, or wandered off. So you can't make them know something they don't know. TBI is involved. I put my faith in TBI over any law agency in this state. Rather, it's a city police department or the sheriff's department. I will put my faith in TBI first and foremost. So I do believe they're working. But the point is, they can't tell you something they don't have because of what you think happened to her. And naturally, they won't tell you something that is prevalent to the case if indeed it's foul play and they have a suspect or more. They're not going to just come out and tell you, yes, this is who we think hurt the child, took the child, so on and so forth. Earlier in the week, you got commentary from the Wells pertaining to this case. I've played that audio before. I choose not to play it again because I don't want to indulge in any more nonsense pertaining to the Wells or anybody else in this case or any other child's case. Basically, they're insinuating that the state took the child. A case was opened on the 14th, closed on the 14th, and then the child went missing, blaming them for taking their boys and also, in my opinion, taking Summer. As Mr. Wells said, this has never happened before, them closing a case one day and then the child going missing the next. They usually just don't close cases. Well, that would lead me to believe that you have had run-ins with the state, which we've heard that you have had dealings, you and Candace both dealing with the state and the removal of children before you two got together. It is what it is. The next commentary is pertaining to Warrior's Path. Thank you for joining me. WJGL is the source of this information as well. Emergency crews responded to a fire at the Warriors Path riding stables on Friday morning. Warriors Path Volunteer Fire Department's Chief Ben Wexler told News Channel 11 crews were dispatched to a fire at the lower horse stables just before 5:30 a.m. Upon arrival, the fire was fully involved and the building was mostly burnt up, Wexler said. The building was reportedly unoccupied and no animals were harmed in the fire. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation released the following statement to News 11. TBI special agents are investigating the circumstances leading to a fire that occurred at Warriors Path Riding Stables early Friday morning. The stables were vacant at the time of the incident. At this time, the investigation into the cause of the fire remains active and ongoing. Warriors Path VFD was assisted by the Bloomingdale Sullivan West Volunteer Fire Department, Sullivan County EMS, and the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office. WJHL is the source if you need verification. So, what are the odds? A day before the anniversary of a girl child who allegedly went to the same place 3 years ago on the 15th of June, caught fire, horse stables. No animals were hurt, no parties were injured. Is this of any significance to her case? Somebody angry, mad, some mad theorists may say this has something to do with her, or somebody threw out a light, was camping, hanging around, cool, chilly, camping there. I don't know. Don't know if it has any significance to her case or someone trying to send a message to the public. Don't know. I'm not here to bring any theories. But what's interesting is that TBI is investigating. So you have to ask that question. Why would TBI be investigating this fire? Do they normally investigate fires? I haven't heard of TBI investigating fires because one, such as here where I live, in this general area and other places I've lived, in the Knox County area outside of Knoxville, I've never heard of TBI investigating a fire. We have fires everywhere. Knoxville has lots of fires. Out in the county, they have fire. You have to ask yourself, why are they investigating? Is it because of this case? Is it because that's where the child allegedly was? We don't have verification that she went there, just a small video clip from 3 years ago from the mother's Facebook page or TikTok page that the child was swimming in the water. Testament from a boy H. Hunter that they were there at that watering hole or in that general area, let's say, and the child succumbed to a little bit of water, choked a bit, but she came to, allegedly. Sad nonetheless. When you look at the structure, it's completely burned of what they showed. So I'm assuming all of it burned down, the horse stables. And how interesting, there were no horses there. One could say, well, maybe it's an insurance scam. I don't know, because I don't know who owns it. If it's a state park, then it's owned by the state, ran by the state. I'm not really sure. I've never done an investigation into who owns the stables. I'm assuming it belongs to the park that may be state ran, owned, and operated. Is this fire related to the case? As I said, someone trying to send a message, somebody being a jokester, prankster. If so, it's a deviant joke, prankster, whether animals were in there or not. It's wrong to set a fire, a blaze, to any structure, car, or human being. This is a very sad case coming out of the holler of a girl child missing, still gone 3 years later. Don't know what happened to her. Different versions spun by Candace Bly pertaining to the disappearance of the child. One day it's this version, then it's this. TBI telling us she was outside, but yet the mother goes to the news and tells us she was inside, allegedly. We don't know if she made it home or not. The infamous picture of the child with on the milk jugs. You don't know what to believe. Fully dressed, but yet it's 90-some degrees outside. So you're entitled to your opinion if you believe Boy H's version versus Candace's version. Bickering back and forth of the versions, and then she says, well, everything he said was true, just got the order wrong. What is the truth? Who knows the truth to where the child can be found, either alive or deceased? And I find it very interesting, that interview earlier in the week, where Don Wells is saying how they were looked at by the state workers and investigators. Something he has never said before in his commentary up here on YouTube. Because this is what happens when you talk, you eventually slip up and tell on yourself. So you told on yourself that you all were looked at, or you felt looked at. But that's their job. You claim to be the last ones with the child, so it's an investigator's job to ask you questions, grill you, fact check data versus what you said, check eyewitness statements versus what you said, check security cameras versus what you said. And we still don't have information to why your children were removed 6 weeks later from the child's disappearance. We don't really know why you had a CPS case open, allegedly. Don't know the circumstances. Now you're mentioning in commentary, it's about some guns. Somebody called and said you had guns. Don't know who that person is and how they would know you had guns around your children. Don't know how long the CPS case was open. See, 1,000 questions with no answers because everybody's assuming they know what happened and what was going on with CPS. You wouldn't know. You don't know them. You wouldn't know about a CPS case. You wouldn't know of any allegations of abuse by these people towards their children because you don't know the Wells. You didn't live there. You weren't their friends. And you cannot listen to everything that these people have told YouTube because I do believe they're fraudulent and they are liars. But the one time he has spoken, which was recently, I do believe he told a bit of truth, that they were looked at negatively by the state. And I'm sure they were. So once again, did they have a case against them by the state of Tennessee? When was it open? What was the allegation and allegations? Obviously, children would have seen something, as we discussed on Bandit TV this morning. They would have already been arrested. But some still believe Camden should have been arrested for child abuse of Boy H, giving him the tea, and also neglect of the children, leaving the children alone, and then coming home and a child missing. But you have to prove neglect. But I feel like she left the children alone. But that's not a big issue here in Tennessee as far as leaving children alone. One child was 13. The state would feel, well, that child was old enough to keep the other two boys. You got to prove neglect. And as I said to you all before, speaking with a social worker that lives here in the area, she says we don't immediately remove children because of the state of the house, the property. So some would say, well, from what we've seen, that would be considered child abuse. But as I said, the state just don't readily remove children. You got to prove they're in an unkempt environment and prove some type of abuse. So if they didn't see any abuse at the time in just an unkempt apartment, this is possibly why they didn't remove the children. Who are the suspects? Parents, neighbors, associates, friends? Are there suspects? If so, who is the TBI looking at? You also hear in the commentary, they have talked to people more than once. Who are those people? The parents, the children, neighbors, friends, associates? And how many times were these people re-interviewed? What came from the interview? Polygraphs. We hear that allegedly Candace passed, but you never hear from the news sources that she passed or that Donna Wells took one and passed. That's what I prefer to hear. I no longer want to keep listening to gossip about any of these people in these cases without proof from law enforcement. If the TBI can't say this person's a suspect, not a suspect, removed as a suspect, we're not looking at them as a suspect, he or she took a polygraph, he or she did not take a polygraph, he or she passed a polygraph. That is what I'm looking for. I do not want to indulge another day in any more rhetoric or gossip pertaining to any of these people or their children because it's pointless. And you're going round and around in a circle, and I'm done with all of that. It's 3 years now. There's really nothing else to say pertaining to the case. They have spoken. They don't have answers. What happened? Somebody threw out a light, a match, or was it intentional? Accelerant used, and if so, why? That's my commentary. I want to thank you for joining me. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful weekend. Please check my shorts in the YouTube queue where I will be uploading breaking news and content. If I don't discuss it in a live stream, I put it in a 15-second short. And that's all I have for you. pertaining to the disappearance of Summer Wells. If you need verification for anything said in this live stream, please contact WATEnews.com or WJHL. I'm sure they would gladly answer any questions you have pertaining to their content that has been uploaded to the public. You have been listening to the Vault XL.